Another scholar author of the Ancient Illumination series as well as the Umbani Chronicles, and I'm joined once again by Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
He's the artist and illustrator of the Ancient Illumination graphic novels as well as his own Eve of Insurrection comic. He's working on the sequel as well as a prologue for Umbani, and he did Jericho's Bane comic. Also with us is Andrea Rose Washington.
Hello.
She's the author of Adalithia, Elendil, and Amentree's Magic, also working on her own sequels to those works. So if you're interested in stuff like that, be sure to check the links in the description of the episode and check those out. And we are here to talk episode 3 of Halo, titled Emergence, streaming currently on Paramount Plus, which I think was an very interesting. It was a lot more to discuss in this series. I had already watched it and then went back to rewatch it today and then realized I had a lot of thoughts on this that I'd kind of glossed over in my mind. I guess partially because I know Andrea does not like to watch ahead of where we're at, but I do. And I guess it's probably the smarter play so as not to get certain things mixed up and talk ahead of where we're at. So spoiler alert, if you have not watched episode 3, Emergence, already, they start us off with another flashback scene here, and we get the origins of this Maki character, the Blessed One, who's in the company of the Covenant. We get child trash labor. And then so we see how
on trash planets.
Custody. We get some weird reading of a book and how this kid basically, what's untamed mean? He's like, that must mean you're really pretty. My boy tries to steals a kiss, which is awkward.
That was slick, though.
No, she was trying to get that kiss, though.
No, but that was him because he's the one that can read. No. He said, when you see this, when you read something like this, that means you have to do it. And I was like, ooh.
What the heck? Oh,
we got this.
That was slick, though. That was slick. I'm not gonna lie. The little boy had for where they were, he had a little bit game.
Yeah, and they're foraging through the trash. The Covenant comes down after they're catching a beat down, and ends up that she is in fact the thing that the Covenant are looking for, not something buried amongst the trash. And so we see how she comes to be in their company, because that was a big question we had, I think, initially when we saw this character. Like, how does this one lone human end up in Covenant hands? What are you guys' thoughts?
I liked episode 3 more than I liked episode 2. We got to see some more explanations of some of my questions from episode 2. I still feel like there's a lot of dumb decisions, and I feel like this is a thing that I notice in a lot of like sci-fi, is that you see a lot of smart people make dumb decisions just to further the plot, and it's just like, in real life you wouldn't make that decision because it's stupid.
That's a recurring theme, yeah.
So, but I did like it a lot more than I liked episode 2. So I think now we're getting some answers. But there's so much blind loyalty being thrown around that I just don't. It's dumb. There's so much blind loyalty being like put out there from Master Chief right now, whether it's because he wants answers. It's just like, but dude, you're not acting smart. You're making a lot of dumb decisions because you want answers, and you're trusting people who have never had your best interest at heart. And even though he's starting to understand that more in this episode, I think it's like, but why are you still trusting the person who put you at the position where you're at?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Cortana's gonna betray them all.
Of course.
Betray the UNSC or betray
all of them?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do not. Every time there's AI, it never ends well for the humans. So
come on, don't further that trope.
She's showing herself to be a snitch initially.
She is, and she has a lot of. Also, which was surprising, she has a lot of like agency. That I like that about her. Like when Master Chief tries to introduce her, he's like, "Go away," and it's like, "No." Like,
he didn't try to introduce. She took
no. I said when she introduced herself, but he tries to get rid of her That part was really funny. But in the
That was funny.
beginning, and to talk about the beginning, I like how they're trying to give us they're giving us a reason why the Blessed One clearly is not against the human race. Like the trash planet is struggle, there is trash everywhere. Um, her to be lover, the young boy dies. Um,
Boyfriend or boy that is a friend, because that was not her lover. She
to
was like
be
12.
lover, I said
She
to
was
be
like
lover,
12.
to be
The
lover.
I call him the mansplainer in training, and they end his life early.
Yes, he gets got early, and I'm like, so that's why she was like human beings. So they gave us kind of that motivation for why she kind of sides with the Covenant, and them kind of treating her like she is a person and she
Mm,
matters. Although her real purpose is clearly to help find this relic or enact this prophecy of sorts.
yeah.
So we got that. Seeing more Cortana was interesting. Seeing like how they like had the physical body of Cortana, and then which was also a dark. That was also kind of depressing.
We're gonna get to that
We're gonna
though.
get to that. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, there's a scene in that where it's just like,
yeah,
don't
we're
trust the
gonna
good
get to
doctor.
that because we're getting more of this familial military politics that I really don't care for. It's uninteresting. It takes away from the episode. And then we have, like you said, we finally have Cortana realized in this episode. And when dealing with the physical entity that they're creating her from, I can't be the only one that was creeped out by the assistant.
Yeah, yes,
He is a
he's
guy
weird.
that you're not going to be alone with him in like a dark
Like,
room. Like
Yeah,
my
that
boy was
was
creeping up on her bald head. And if Halsey wasn't going to walk in at that moment, he was going to steal him some kiss right
I'm like,
there.
this is weird.
I was
Like
like,
he's
what is happening here?
weird.
it was disgusting.
It
It was
was
creepy.
gross.
Yeah.
He gives me is it Renfield? He gives me like not Renfield. He gives me like he kind of reminds me of like a Frankenstein assistant or even the guy that assists Dracula. Like he just has this weird sniveling vibe about him that
Yeah.
I don't like him. He reminds me of those type of dudes.
He's always creeping, it seems like.
Like you're a creeper, bro.
He is the obsessive he is the obsessive assistant that's
Mhm.
going to who's like in love. He's not there because he believes in her work. He's there because he loves her.
Uh-oh.
Mm.
And that's not like he's that guy who would like kill to be
Kill
with
for
her.
Halsey. He's gonna kill for Halsey.
No.
To
He's
be
like,
with
I
the
can have
to
you,
be
no
with.
one can.
Oh, okay.
Is
Can we
that's how he was looking at that
At
Cortana or
Cortana's
the
body.
clone.
can
Yeah.
we make an extra one of these bodies for me to just
Oh my
have
god, he's gonna
for research purposes?
research
Like
purposes.
he's that one. She's gonna think he's harmless. And he's not gonna be harmless, and she's gonna be in a vulnerable spot, and he's gonna be like, "I love you," and she's gonna be like, "What?" And then no, go away. And he's
Sounds like
like,
we're talking
"Everything
about
I've done
another
for
movie.
you,"
Yeah.
and he's gonna kill her.
Loves the
Yeah.
robot, kills the robot.
Yeah. Chief here is very hesitant when he realizes what's about to go down. Like he sits on, he's got his little hospital gown on, he's talking to Halsey, and he's like, this isn't necessary. I don't need a body basically a babysitter. And she's like, no. And you can see that Halsey sees them not as human beings, very much like machines. She's like, oh no, this is an upgrade. We're gonna make you better.
Yes.
Don't worry
Mhm.
about it. And I find her character kind of repulsive and at the same time interesting
Hmm.
because through the scenes I'm kind of questioning her humanity because the only emotional reactions you really get from her are when she's interacting with Cortana. Like you get a big smile when she finally materializes, but when you see her in other situations where there are obviously emotional things going on with people dying or something actually happening that should affect her in some way, she's almost got that. When you see a cat that really just doesn't give a shit about anything, the cat seems very unimpressed about things. That's her reaction. Like you see the pain in the physical body they created for Cortana. She's like about to go in this vat of, I guess, acid to
Yeah,
melt it down, and you see her head tilt when she's looking at the needle about to go in the eyeball. But then instead of that moment where a normal human would go, "Oh, it'll be okay," she just goes blank.
Yeah, straight face.
You know what you're describing, right?
Say it. What?
A serial killer.
Exactly. That's a serial killer, everybody.
That like they can't connect with other people, only their work, and she sees the Spartans as her work, and like or things that are extensions of herself, which is like Cortana.
Yeah,
they get joy from she's a psychopath.
Yeah, I was like, what is he, a psychopath, sociopath, or something?
One of those paths.
He's probably a narcissist too. Once they have it,
maybe not. They mostly are.
Maybe not.
And the interface here is very different from what people that have played the games are more familiar with. We see Chief on the bed laying down, and normally in the video games and throughout every other medium that I've seen with Master Chief, Cortana is basically downloaded to like a microchip that's then placed in the back of his helmet and allows him to interact and speak with her. Here, they straight drill into the back of homie's head.
That was gross.
And puts it into him physically, which I thought was a different take on things.
And it's so, again, I guess he also didn't have control over that. Like, he didn't decide that, but like, dumb decisions, because now how do you really get away from that when she can put your body into stasis without your permission?
Obviously he didn't know that was going to happen, but he didn't read the room, especially when he's getting these little psychic hints from the artifact of his childhood memories, which will come into play later, obviously. But you have to know that they're keeping information from you, which we see.
He's not getting it.
Yeah, no, he's not comprehending at all.
Hey, Cortana, open this door. Can you open this door? And then that's another.
Halsey's talking to Cortana and not to him.
Yeah.
Letting the audience know that they're watching your every move. It's crazy.
And nothing you do is private. You're not a person to them. You're a piece of equipment.
It's cool. Tool in the shed.
I took a dump. I know you did. We were there with you. Wait, what?
Cortana pops up. Hey, how you doing? What the?
I cut up to. And also, how Halsey's gonna play like she didn't know that he cut out his implant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, Master Chief, you are trusting the wrong people, and I don't know how he's gonna get himself out of this. Eventually, like the way the show's going, I think eventually he's gonna have to like, disband from them or like get away from them. So I wonder if it's gonna be him that does it or the blonde hair Spartan off the Silver Team,
Kai,
who like watched him cut the thing out his back.
Yeah, we're gonna get answers to that in later episodes, but I think initially when the episode kind of was coming to a close, yes, I have.
Andrea, we talked about this last week. This is what we do. This is what me and Rod do, but we're not going to tell you what happens.
Episode 3, I was like, yo, I didn't know how to take what Kai was doing there when she's kind of peeking at the Master Cheeks as he
Did he just say Master? Wait a second. Did you just say Master Chief?
Yes, he did. He did say
You're
that.
Ridiculous.
He said that.
You're ridiculous, Rod. Come on, man. Master
that's what it's been dubbed now. Is we're getting the Master Cheeks each week now. So sorry about it. I was like, what is she? I thought she was going to be a snitch. I'm thinking that like she's going to snitch, but I mean it doesn't matter because Cortana is like on it. She snitches right away. Like she goes to Halsey. He's trying to remove his pellet. And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, no, I think I should stop him. I can put him in stasis. She's like, no, he needs to think of you as an accomplice and not a spy. It's like, but you are a spy. That's clearly why they've implanted you in him. Only one that doesn't seem to really realize this is him, I guess. Which was funny when he, like he said, when he introduces, well, he doesn't introduce, Cortana takes upon himself to introduce herself to the rest of Silver Team. And the sister had me rolling with her look. She gives him like the side eye, like, is this coming from inside you, Chief? And he tries to explain away. Vanek, I love Vanek though. He's still, the homie is down. He doesn't care. Like, we've been briefed. We don't care. Just let us know what's going down. We with you. I'm like, oh, my boy is just He's ready to go to hell and back and doesn't even seem to care that you're all pawns. They're just I guess, but he still has his pellets, so he's he's officially like emotionally neutered, I guess.
So that like begs the question: does Master Chief, is he going to be saved by Soren? Is he going to be saved by his Silver Team? Is he like, who is going to, because they can't tell him anything because Cortana, if anything he's aware of, Cortana's aware of. So it begs the question: how are they going to ever use him in whatever way they plan, like for the artifact? Because, well, we know that he has to be conscious and awake to use the artifact. It can't just be his body. He has to be awake.
Yeah.
And touch the artifact. But still, if they can put him in stasis and then get him there and then wake him up and make him touch it. So it's
kind of a weird dynamic too, because Cortana clearly doesn't know her place. Like, she's like, I'm here. Oh, I'm
She does not.
She be talking too much.
I am
which is why she's gonna take over.
Yeah, I'm ready.
AIs are dangerous.
She's gonna take over John Smith. What, John's body? It's gonna be a wrap.
She was like, I'm AIs are dangerous. Why is he not awake? Why is he not awake? I'm here to take over. I can't do that if he's laying on the table unconscious. And Halsey's like, chill out. Do some studying real quick. Just do some studying. You have the wealth of all human knowledge and creation that you can study. She's like, okay, what am I going to do with the other 52 minutes? Because it's only going to take me 8 minutes to go through all the stuff y'all know. And I was like, oh, she's ready to go. She's not trying to sit back and wait. She wants to take over John right now and fully integrate.
Yep. And that is dangerous.
Yeah.
That is very dangerous. She's not hiding the fact that she wants his body.
She wants his body.
Not in that manner. You know how I meant it.
You just said it. I want to be like, she wants his body. I mean,
are the cuts bothering you guys?
What'd you say?
Are the jump cuts to varying groups bothering you guys? Because I've seen there's starts and stops and stutters in the show. They cut to Quan. We get this harebrained, she just wants to go back to Madrigal. Then you see that for a bit. The cuts are kind of, it's slowing the flow.
That whole stupidness. She's a child. Children should not be making decisions. Soren should just go ahead and knock her out, tie her up, and just make her stay there. I'm like, look.
No, she has to go back. She has to avenge her father.
You realize what Soren said to her. Like, if I was her, I would have been like, you know what? You're right. I'm gonna stay. Maybe make sure my plan's gonna work before I stupidly go back to a planet and hope that my father's people have not been shot in the head like dogs in the middle of the street, like he's been doing to other people. That they're willing to pay you to bring me back. Otherwise, you're going to turn me over to this bounty guy, whether I'm like, and he's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for John,
I'm gonna get paid either way. The moment he said either way, I would be like, you know what? You're right. I'm gonna stay. You're right.
I ain't gonna.
Because if I'm wrong, if they're not there to support me anymore, if they're dead, you're gonna turn me over, and I'm not willing to risk that right now until I have my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
It's too many dumb decisions.
So
let's take a break real quick, and then we'll come back to talk about more of Quan's harebrained plans and other weird things that happened in this episode, from a possible flood reference. I'm not sure. Either way, we'll be back in a few minutes. And welcome back to the second half of the Akari Cast. My name is Rod Van Blake. Once again, I'm joined by Andrea Rose Washington.
What up?
And Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
We are continuing our talk on Halo Episode 3 Emergence, streaming right now on Paramount Plus. And we see fairly late in this episode a Covenant ship where Maki, the Blessed One, approaches a UNSC frigate.
Gladius.
Yeah, and uses her, like she gets somehow to be a decoy to just jump on a Covenant vessel, and this has got to be the dumbest security squad ever to take her in.
Rod, that's the power of white women's tears. That's how she did it. Come on, man. It was that easy.
It was like the scene where her crying and getting onto the ship was cool. The whole reveal where you see, I think I don't know what those worm things are that's in the suit of armor, kind of as
Yeah.
she kind of gets this little smart, snarky looking look on her face before she walks in to the deck as they dock with the UNSC vessel. And then she walks in, has her little speech. They check her. She looks up and then kind of leans her head to the side. And all of a sudden, I don't know if you played any games with the flood in it, Jordan?
When were they introduced? What game were they introduced?
Halo 2, I believe.
If they're that I think I played. That's the one. They were like kind of this
They're like
parasitic
these
group.
parasites where there was one of the first like horde modes in game, which just waves of stuff just came at you, and it was
that
crazy.
is the one I played. So that was a reference to them.
I don't know if it was, but it kind of reminded me of that with these worm-like creatures. But my thing is, why did nobody shoot Maki? She's going through a Sunday stroll in the park. She even gets this cool like slow motion montage as she's walking through. Worms are hitting the ground. Nobody's shooting this person in the face.
But how do you know that she controls the worms?
Because it was her head movement.
What? They're dumb, but they're all dumb enough to not notice. They're dumb soldiers.
Because when people are afraid, they don't think rationally. It's like they say when someone puts a bag over your head and they buckle it, and then you try to get undo the buckle instead of just ripping the bag. You don't think straight when you're afraid.
Rod, with your tactical experience, would you have be honest? If you were being swarmed by those worms, would you have shot the worms? Or would you shot her?
Bro, they came with you.
What? I mean,
you shoot at the thing that's coming at you.
Well, what if the worms are coming at you?
I can pop 2 or 3 in her and then get back to shooting whatever's on the ceiling. But they came with you, and you can see that she is unafraid. You know what I mean? Like if something just happens, then she would be freaking out along with the other humans. She's clearly not reacting as the other human beings on the ship are. She's cool with it. She's not moving frantically. She's not moving at high speed. To me, that's a tell. Kind of like in I don't know if you remember the funny scenes in Men in Black, where Will is like, he don't trust the girl around the alien. She's the only one not freaking out. This dude, I don't know if he's just trying to get a workout.
The little girl. Yeah, like, he's just doing his like some pull-ups. Why this little girl got quantum physics? I don't trust that. In this neighborhood at night? No, something's going on. I don't trust her. So I thought that's just a booger. His nose is running.
Yeah. I'm like, nobody shoots this person that just comes out of the blue on their ship from this huge capital ship.
Exactly. A Corvette. I'm like, why are all their ships that big in comparison to the UNSCs? Like
a lot of them are, yeah. I wouldn't.
How y'all fighting them like that? Just single lone combat ships going out there fighting them giant Corvettes. Call them Corvettes.
Yeah, I was thinking somebody should have shot her.
Yeah, they should have.
You're right. They should have after their initial shock. When they were still going out the room, unless we couldn't see that maybe she was like deflecting them, but I didn't see that.
There was no deflection. It was just.
But like in the very beginning, oh my God, yeah, you shoot the things that are coming at you, but eventually, when you're
like the captain
getting pulled out, maybe you should shoot her. I don't know. I felt like I would have just ran and hide and then hope to God those things didn't find me.
Yeah. And then you clearly see that she kind of has some control when the things rope up the captain, because she looks up first and then looks down. As she does it, they come down and snap. So there's some type of either telekinetic communication between her and these things, and then she starts interrogating him, and then we get this weird plasma fingernail thing.
I think it was cool. I thought it was cool, Rod. I know it's not normal for Halo, but I thought it was cool and different. Do you think our whole body can
different,
do that?
But it was dumb. I was like, really?
It was pretty cool.
You got a lightsaber fingernail popping up right now, like, and then he tried to block it with his hand in front of his eye, which is hilarious.
Like, nope, stuck.
I mean, same way people try to put their hand up when they're getting shot. Like, no.
Yeah, it was like a Three Stooges thing where someone tries to poke you in the eye and you do this. I mean, that's about as useful as it was. I'm like, come on, man. But I was proud of him holding off and not giving up no info. Like, he's like, I will tell you nothing.
You will know nothing about.
And a lot of times when they say that in movies and TV shows, in the end they always end up giving up the goods. I will tell you nothing. oh yeah, let me start from the third grade. He starts telling everything usually in most shows, but he didn't. He died. He went out.
So it made me wonder when, like, later when she was like in trying to fix their communications or something, so that way she could send a message back.
Mhm.
Why didn't she send a message from her ship? Why did she send a message from their ship?
That was a little that did seem goofy second watch because it's like, don't you think that the UNSC would know that you're talking to somebody else, like would pick up on that communication?
Yeah.
And then they tried to use some BS to be like there were some electromagnetic frequencies involved, so the message is a little scrambled. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that seems like a plot mechanic, basically. How are we going to make it so that the UNSC gets this information and
Yeah.
because they have to move to the part where they're trying to translate it later.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was
Yeah.
just like, that didn't make sense. Why would you risk it from an enemy ship when you can go back to yours?
Yeah.
It'd be different if she wasn't able to go back to hers and she had to commandeer their ship, but like
That's
she
what,
went back to her ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. I also interpret what she was doing was trying to was she trying to hack into to the mainframe of the computer to gather data and information?
Yes.
Okay,
And
so yeah,
yeah.
her doing that seemed logical.
Yeah.
That made sense. Like, okay, you're gonna go get the information
That
off
was
the
fine.
mainframe. That made sense. But the fact you sent a communication to the Covenant and thus it just became a plot tool, plot device. I'm like,
Yeah.
it pushed the story along with that one. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that might have just been a plot device for them to get the other things they had set up.
Yep.
And then we've already kind of briefly touched upon it, but then you see the testing of the artifact with John and Cortana present. And once again, she is gung ho. Cortana wants to, hey, just let me take over, and we can, the readings will be more accurate. And all this stuff, like when it's not John, when he's not conscious, the thing doesn't react to it. What'd you say?
Don't trust her, John.
Yeah, he ain't got no
Don't
choice
trust her.
now. She's in there, and yeah,
Don't
she's
trust
in.
her.
I'm not gonna
I
say
know.
anything
You're
more.
right. You're right. You're right. I'm just gonna harp on don't trust her.
Yeah.
And then so then the relic kind of gives him visions. Doesn't he get more visions? And doesn't Cortana help him find? She tries to help him pinpoint where he
Research.
was born through the research.
Yeah, that was the interesting part. She's like, I'm really good at this. You don't seem to be finding what you're looking for. Let me help you. And the other interesting thing, because we've been kind of talking about this with them trying to further humanize the Master Chief. He kind of, after he's got no pellet now, he starts hearing music. He goes on this little like spiritual walkabout kind of where
Finding myself.
yeah,
Who
he's
am
kind of
I?
bedazzled by the ships. Like, I've been looking at this stuff for years. It's never
It's so
affected me this
colorful.
way. I'm just hopping on the subway, and she's like, "This is a new experience for you. You're getting excited." He's like, "What excited? What's that?" He's like, "That's what you're feeling right now, fool. You seem excited about this stuff. You're hearing music. You're going on the subway. He's looking at a dude talking to his girl on the train, and seeing that interaction, and it seems like it's all very human interaction. Seems very foreign to him as he kind of observes it in the wild. And it looked like when he goes to the park where they're playing the music is another kind of Easter egg. That ball that's sitting there. I'm wondering if that's an Easter egg for Griff Ball in the game. I don't know if you know. Have you played Griff Ball, Jordan?
What's Griff Ball? No, I have not.
They had an actual sport in Halo you could play called Griff Ball, where you were either had swords and hammers, and it was like a mix between soccer, football, and basketball, where there was like a goal at the end. You spawn in, there's this ball in the middle, and then everybody runs to get this ball, and then you get it, and your teammates can block for you with the hammers. But the other team, if they hit you with the hammer, the ball gets dropped, and you pick it up. And then when you slam it into the goal at either side, it blows up, and you all blow up, and it gets you a point, and then it starts over again.
Okay.
So I saw that like ball just sitting there on the park benches. I was like, "Is that a Griff ball?" And then the kid's like, "Hey, that's my ball," and he throws it to him. I thought maybe that was like an Easter egg for that. I could be reaching, I could be wrong, but it just looked like it. I'd have to do some more searching to see if that was it. But it was a cool scene of him just kind of. We're seeing him awaken emotionally as we go further along, and him wanting. He knows something's up, but like I said, he also knows that there's a limited amount of people. I think we were discussing this last episode. There's a limited amount of people that have the answers that he's looking for, even if we know as an audience that we can't really trust him to give him accurate answers. Like there's nowhere else really to turn to get this information. Like y'all know that something's up with how I got here. Y'all know something's up with my past, my parents, and why I don't remember none of this stuff until now, touching that weird artifact. Y'all better tell me something. It's kind of
so so the memory that he gets from the artifact, and they're like the one that they're traveling back to his home world for. What do you think is buried there? Because I think it's the family dog.
That's what I'm thinking too. Because he had the vision of the dog, and then you see him kind of giving puppy eyes to the dog he sees at the park when they're looking at it. He's like, I was waiting on him to go up and pet that lady's dog. He doesn't do it, but he looks at it, and he just kind of says, I'm going to touch dog now. And we hear Cortana interrupt him. That is one thing. She jumps in sometimes way too much when he's just sitting there minding his business, and she just hops
stopping him from remembering things,
from being
or
himself.
doing things. That's not, yeah.
Because she can take over.
When we see him talk to Halsey when he's back in full uniform, this is a much more emotional Master Chief than what we got in the very beginning. Like when we saw him first walking in the beginning of the episode, and he was walking past those Marines or the guards, whatever, army people playing that little ball game in the sand, the little metal balls. He was just like looking like he's like, why are you doing this? Like almost like,
he didn't understand
what you're doing. And then like later we see someone who can have true emotion, who can now understand the joy they may have been getting from playing that game, while Master Chief was like, why would you do this? So it's like Cortana's keeping him from trying to be too much like that without the pellet. I wonder if the girl's going to take the pellet out her back because he did.
Possibly. You see my Kai 125. The thing that's also weird to me, I don't know if you guys have made this observation, but Maki, she has not been around humans for very long. She's been around the Covenant for the most part. So I'm kind of wondering how she can act so well. Because you see how socially awkward Master Chief is, and people in general, just in life that haven't been around a lot of people, and then you put them in a setting where they're around a lot of people, that can be really socially awkward. But my girl is a Oscar award-winning actress when it comes to playing the damsel in distress, when she, over the comm system, and then when she gets into the ship with the UNSC, old boy's like, did they hurt you? No, I'm fine. And I'm like, come on, man. She would not be able to act that well, I think, after being separated.
But she's experienced trauma before, and she can go back to that place if she needs to. But also, it's not.
If it was her real personality, then I would have to agree. But because she's putting on an act, and her real personality after she kills them is like she shuts down.
Yeah,
I feel like she can play it because she has been fearful before, so she knows how to act fearful. But the moment she gets what she needs, or the moment her acting got her onto the ship, her entire demeanor changed. So it's like her real personality is like, I don't really know how to be around humans, so leave me alone. I'm gonna kill you. Fire finger
people.
Like, I'm gonna shoot you. But then but she can act as the act was a persona. Like she might have she has that book. She might have read. She might remember from her childhood how she saw her love, her best friend, her boyfriend get beaten to death by 2 hits. He went down quickly, by the way.
He did die fast.
I'm
like, wait,
fearful. But to have actual meaningful conversation interaction,
she hasn't had any of that yet. Yeah,
I don't think she can fake that, but she can fake fearful.
Unless it's all with the Covenant. I'm just saying it wouldn't translate well when her interaction has mainly been with Covenant, and say, I don't know how old she is when she got taken, but if she was taken at say
10?
9 or 10 years old, and then 20 something years later she's back, and maybe she's either late 20s now, or a little older, some of that I think leaves you. If you don't use it, you lose it. Same thing with languages and interaction. I think you that old kind of trope of being raised by wolves or raised by gorillas when you haven't interacted with humankind for a majority of the time. I don't think they're that good. What'd you say?
But she has interacted with intelligent life. Like,
Right.
she has had conversations. She just hasn't been around humans, but she has been around other intelligent lives and had conversations. So while she may not get all the emotional and the social nuances that come with dealing with humans, she still knows how to have conversations.
Right.
Yeah.
And it'd be one thing if they like said her name's Maki. Is Maki?
Maki, yes.
Maki, go to the bar and try to seduce someone or do something like that. Now we're like, how did she know how to do that? That'd be one thing to be like, why? But like, she's kind of playing a damsel in distress.
She probably read the book
and she's. What'd you say? What did you say?
She probably will read the book and say, "Hey, it says kiss."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
You read
also,
it.
but she has. You got to do it. But she also has memories. She was once a human, like she lived with human beings, and so she knows what her humanity is. It's not like she was raised by them, like she was born within their culture and society. True. That would have influenced everything. Like that would be a time to be like the question, like, how did she know how to do anything, or how did she know how to even speak English? Yeah. Like that would be an interesting thing to bring up. If that was the case of how she was born, but she's been around people. She clearly holds on because she keeps that book with her. So her humanity clearly still in her past means something to her.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm wondering if we're also going to get more spiritual walkabouts from the other members of Team Silver and the other Spartans.
I hope so.
Once and if they follow suit, the whole team just goes crazy. Like,
yeah, that's what I want. Everybody
unlocks all their emotions, and then Halsey's like, I can't control none of these. It would be interesting and funny to see that. I'm also wondering if since they're veering away from what was canonical with the video games and some of the books, whether each of the other Spartans then, because we upgraded one, whether Halsey will try and upgrade the other Spartans as well, and they each get their own individual AI to help them. Because I know you guys haven't played it, but in Halo Infinite, you now have other AI. Like you get as your Spartan, you get your own AI and color choice. Really? In the new Halo Infinite.
Is that the last game that just came out? It's like the most
the newest one that just came out. Different. So they're not all blue. They're different. You can
I can get mine's green or red.
Yeah, you can get it green, blue, orange, whatever color. And then they have there's a limited amount, but there's different voice options so they can have different accents and personalities that come with the different AI. So it'd be cool. Because my boy Vanek just seems so gruff the whole time. What? We've been briefed. Don't worry about it, Chief. We're with you. He's quick to the point.
Soldier through and through.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's good to he's good. He's the good to go Spartan. How you doing? Good to go. That's it. You don't say much else. Do you think the series is improving or no?
I don't know. I need to see more of
I know I need to see more.
It's too soon to tell because like right now they're in the first episode, like I said, was great, and the second one sort of dipped. The third one has come back up, but it's nowhere near like where the first one was. So, it's in the air if it's going to get better or not, because they built this huge like end goal that we're trying to get to figure out the artifact, what's going on. There's all these moving parts. There's all these different people. And if they do not put it together in a way that actually makes sense, it's going to be a letdown.
Yeah.
So
in certain parts, I think they're taking the Halo out of Halo, which may not make any sense with all the other subplots that we're getting into. But you're right. I think it'll all depend on whether they tie it in or sprinkle in enough Halo back into it to kind of tide us over, and then we kind of like eating your vegetables. I mean, when you want to get to the main course, if they give us enough of that goodness, that meat and that flavor that we know is a part of this, then I'm cool with eating a couple of Brussels sprouts along the way. But Only
First of
only
all,
time.
Brussels sprouts are great.
What? Yeah, well, seasoned Brussels sprouts are amazing. I feel
I
like
said Brussels
these
sprouts are great.
for episode
You squash.
3, squash. Okay. Episode 3 has been very much so. I feel similarly to Andrea. Like first episode is very strong, action heavy, and then episode 2 and 3 are very much like we're giving like they're piecemealing us like information, which I'm fine with. Um, and it and so, but it is kind of it's a very slow and hard watch, but
Yeah,
I'm
it's slow burn.
slow burn, but I'm happy it gets better. Not gonna say
Well, it's
anything.
better than the other one for me. At least I'll
What's
say
the other
this. It's
one?
better.
Foundation. What is the other one?
Yeah, Foundation.
Oh,
Mm,
okay. Yeah.
Like I will say, it's not the
I preferred
cinematography on the
Foundation
Apple
slow
show
burn
was a
though.
lot better than the
Yes,
Halo
it
one.
was. It was.
But the storyline on Halo is grabbing me a lot more than Foundation is.
That's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I like Foundation's writing better. I don't know. Foundation felt like it was a little more highbrow, and like things were just. It was in that kind of Game of Thrones type vibe. That's all. I'm gonna
It
die on that
was.
hill, but it was. This is
It,
different. This is
it
different.
was. Yeah, it was. But they're both doing that kind of pet peeve of Andrea's with the dumb. The
Yes.
It was
Aren't people
dumb
making dumb
decision,
decisions?
which I'm starting to believe is just a thing that a lot of writers do out of necessity. Like you have to think because sometimes when characters annoy me, when they annoy me to a certain point, I'm like, did they do that on purpose to purposely annoy me? And if so, then they've done an excellent job of doing this.
Yeah.
I'm pissed at this character. I'm getting like
Mhm.
they're evoking an emotional response from me specifically because this character is doing something dumb, and that could either be the character's just written that way on purpose, or for whatever reason they just decided to do it, and it's just like an arbitrary or accidental result of it. I don't know.
Mm. Like I feel like Halsey is one of those characters where like they're doing a good job of making her very cold-hearted. Like she's
Definitely.
I hate her.
cold-blooded, and
She
we
gets
Yeah.
a
hate
bad
her.
part.
And that's how I know the writing. She's a good like she's being written well as a villain. Like
Yeah.
we are in
Mhm.
unison. Like I really
Yeah.
don't like her. I like her
Yeah.
because she just doesn't care so much. I actually like her a lot because she's so cold-hearted.
She seems to be getting worse and worse,
But
I
she's
think.
she's getting worse and worse. She's going down that path.
Question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Her daughter. Because like how they're
Miranda.
setting up her daughter to do a parallel research this episode
Mhm.
Yeah.
without telling her that her daughter's doing a parallel research. Do you think? I mean, I think the answer is yes. But do you guys think that Halsey will sacrifice her daughter if she thinks her daughter's going to get to an answer before she does, or like if it's going to if her daughter getting to the answer before her means her daughter's like the one in charge?
No, but I do think if it comes between a choice between getting actual answers and sacrificing her daughter, I think Halsey would choose the answers.
Same.
Yeah, I think she would I would think she would sacrifice her daughter for some answers. She's more about that science, about the
Yeah.
evolution of humanity. Not the evolution of humanity, but the evolution of her work. So
Because she
she
seems
don't care
more
about her daughter.
excited with her
Really don't.
clone, like you
Yeah,
said, Rod,
exactly.
than she does talking about anything else. She was more excited about talking to her clone
A
than
robot.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. Like things that she's worked and created with, not physically like having a daughter, but things that like material she's made and created gets an emotional reaction from. Like she smiled big as hell when Cortana materialized. It's nice to finally meet you. I was like, what is going on with this lady?
She crazy.
Yeah. Once again, appreciate you guys taking the time to talk about these things with me, and the 2 or 3 of you all that caught us on live on various platforms. I appreciate you taking times out of your day to hear us discuss these things. Be sure to check out the podcast when I upload the audio to Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google Casts, and all places where podcasts are available. Don't forget to check out Trekkie and Beyond.
A Star Trek podcast. Discover Discovery with us.
That's right. And they are also available on those same platforms through Anchor. And make sure to check the description and the link on the episode for our various books, comics, graphic novels, and other things that we are working on. We appreciate you, and we will talk to you all next week.
Peace.
Deuces.